Hello and welcome to Crafting a Revolution, the podcast. My name is Katie Freeman and I'm one of your hosts. Every week we bring you interviews with makers and artists of all kinds from all over the world who identify as female, non-binary, or transgender. Today's guest is Emily Joyce. Emily creates nostalgic and sentimental works of wearable art and sculpture about her love of all things related to the school experience. Her pieces are unique, one of a kind, and all made by Emily in her home studio. Many sources of inspiration are from visiting playgrounds, reminiscing about teaching and learning, and found tools and documents at antique stores. She gets warm and fuzzy over kid writing. She collects tools and school supplies. Emily realizes that her work is different from the ordinary. She wants her work to speak to people on a personal level and evoke a feeling or a memory. Many of the themes revolve around the subject of school. She realizes school may bring people feelings of joy or pain or anxiety, and she is here for it. Emily struggled in school herself and thinks about school a lot as her kids are all of elementary school age. The materials Emily uses to create are metal and enamel. Enamel has a rich history that dates back to the early 9th century. Many times she recommends people check out the reliquaries from the Byzantine era at their own art museum to see some pieces that inspired her to learn the art. Enamel is powdered glass fused to metal. It is finicky and fragile and comes in a variety of colors and techniques. Although she knows many processes in enamel, Emily is always drawn to champleve, drawing and exploring unique ways to apply enamel. Now, I actually had Emily on, like we talk about in this episode here, about 2 years ago in 2020 when the podcast was still called the Maker Mom Podcast. And I plan on linking that original episode in the description for today's episode. So it was a great time to get caught up with her because I've watched her journey over the past couple of years through Instagram, just seeing how she's changed her practice and just watched her really thrive as an artist. So it was great to get caught up and ask some questions that are definitely on my mind now as I'm about to start my journey out of my professional career and into grad school and hopefully into a studio furniture practice. Before getting into my conversation with Emily, I want to give you a reminder to hit pause and head on over to podcastawards.com and to nominate and vote for Crafting a Revolution under the People's Choice Awards, as well as the category of art. Greatly appreciated. And I also want to give a big shout out and thanks to the patrons over on Patreon. So huge shout out to Matthew from Artigiano Serio for being our main podcast sponsor. Thank you so much. And thank you to Candace, CJ Woodgrain, Lee Runyon, Annette, 513 Woodworks, Katie Thompson, Women of Woodworking, Kevin, Lefty's Woodshop, Christy, Twisted Twine, Jeremy Speece, Sammy, Go Sammy Lee, Rachel, Moody Makes, Laura Oakley Soap Company, Brandy, Studio Obey, Ellen, Little Bear Furniture, Ethan Carter Designs. Thank you all so very much for helping to make this podcast happen every week. Couldn't do it without you, and that is the honest to God truth. All right, let's head on into the conversation with Emily Joyce. Well, before we totally get into chit-chatting, I should be in case nobody has listened to your previous episode, which I'm sure there's nobody out there who has not listened to it. Give you the chance to introduce yourself again so people know who you are.
Okay. Right now?
Yeah, right now.
Okay, right now. My name. Hi, everybody. I'm Emily Joyce of Emily Joyce Official, and I have started a small business, which I don't refer to as a small business anymore. I refer to myself as an artist 2 years ago. So I met you 2 years ago.
Yep.
So I was on your podcast then in 2020. Mm-hmm. And in the past 2 years, I have really focused on, what I want being an artist to look like and how I want to go about my daily life. And really learned a lot in the last 2 years. I'm an enamelist. I am a craft maker, and I really like to refer to myself as an artist now. I played around with the idea of like, am I a maker? Am I this? Am I that? But
Right.
at the end of the day, I think I'm just full on. I'm an artist. I can't deny it. I always felt like that might be a little pretentious,
I get that. I get that.
but at the end of the day, I can't help it. It's who I am. And I have three beautiful girls. I live in Newberry, Ohio. I have a really awesome husband who just is very supportive. And I think that's it. I hope I didn't miss anybody. I have a dog and a cat.
There you go.
I don't want to leave them out. They're very cute. They'd be
Yeah.
very sad if they
Yes.
listen to this.
I was thinking about that as I was like, so like you were on my calendar and I kept having to be like, oh yes, I have something today. Yes.
It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. Yeah.
But I was like, as I was kind of thinking, I was like, yeah, when we first talked, like you just made the leap. Like it was like very new for you.
Yeah.
The leap from like teaching to, full-time investing in yourself and what you wanted to do.
Right. So I had just finished my last year of teaching that had just wrapped up. And the last year of teaching was in the middle, it was pandemic.
Right.
So my teaching from March to June was all online. It was, looking back now, it was such a sad way to leave teaching because I didn't get to say goodbye to any of the kids or any of the teachers or faculty or administration. So we did it on Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
But you know how we were on Zoom in June. Nobody was listening to anybody and everybody had their cameras off. So it was very, I don't know if anybody heard me say goodbye. Goodbye, people of the private school I used to teach at. If you listen to this, I miss you. But yeah, so like that was the end of it. Mm-hmm. I started immediately trying to figure out, what it's going to look like to make work. And I started with a collection called Art and Music, which was what was on my mind because the last thing I did in person at school was High School Musical, a High School Musical performance. So I think that was like strongly on my mind at that time. Mm-hmm. And I look back at that work, like the craft of the work I produced that year. And I'm like, yoo-hoo. I've grown a lot in 2 years. So I'm like, wow, that's cool. But it's cool because like, that was only 2 years ago. It was such a small amount of time. What will I be in 2 years from now? Like,
I always refer to this like pandemic time. I'm like, yeah, remember when that thing happened like 10 years ago and it was really only like a year ago, like
back in my day.
Yeah. It just feels like, I mean, we weren't going anywhere, right?
Right.
Like, really. But it was, I don't know. Like, I think the entire world has changed during that time.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean,
yeah. Yes.
If you could see my face.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, deep breaths. So yeah, it's just, I guess now I just look at everything I do in my studio differently too. Mm-hmm. I work differently than I did 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I thought I have to work every day, 9 to 5. That's a day in my studio. And now I've really realized I have creative hours. I have hours in the day where my brain is like, let's get this done. And then hours where my body and brain are just like, we're done. It's time to go for a walk or go outside or drink a big, tall glass of water. So there's been a lot of things that I changed about my daily life and practice also. But to get there, I had to go through, I went through a pretty deep depression, I'm not going to lie. And with many of us did. Right. And so if you are one of those people listening and you were just depressed in the last 2 years on and off, like I'm with you. I get it. I was there. Lots of loss, just lots of change, and it's
Yep.
hard. So we have to
Yep.
take that for granted when we go about our lives right now. So I feel like at this point, talking to you, I feel really at ease.
Hmm.
At ease. I say that as my husband's going to listen to this and he's going to be like, "Really? You're at ease? Where and when?" Because I had a craft show this weekend,
Yeah.
and I was not at ease.
I'm sure you were not. I mean,
But I think more about I think I'm speaking more about like my practice.
yes.
Yeah.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
First I want to just like let everyone know that during that 2-year point of time, I got to ask you to do like a commission piece for me,
Yeah.
which I still love, and is on our bedroom wall.
Nice.
And I definitely like I'm pretty in love with the work you're making right now. With like the like small little television is like my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that thing. Thank you
Yeah.
for saying that.
Yeah. It's one of those things. It's like I follow so many of you who are just like so talented and make such beautiful pieces of work, and I'm like, I need to make like all the money so I can just go buy from like
I
all of
know.
my favorite artists all the time.
I know. Who did I buy? I bought something from somebody recently, and I was just thinking, like, maybe I would be financially stable if I wasn't purchasing all of my maker friends pieces. I get that. It's so nice to be able to just um support makers that you feel connected with. So I get that 100%. And I so appreciate your business and making that piece, because every time I do a paper piece, I learn more, I grow more, and I learn more about the medium that pushes me in a new way. So, I'm always grateful for those customs.
Yeah. I wanted to ask, because this is definitely something that's like weighing heavily on my mind. Like we chatted briefly about before hitting record about me starting grad school, and it's the first time like I have no planned income, right? Like schooling is paid for, luckily, because I'll be a graduate assistant and I'll be teaching as part of that. So the program's paid for, but I still am not like providing like a source of income to my family. And I'm one of those people that I worked 40 plus hours a week during undergrad. Like I've always worked. I've worked since I was 12 years old. So this is like an anomaly to me. In fact, like it's a discussion in my marriage, because my wife is like, let's look at student loans. Like I want you to actually just be able to like go do school, like not worry about, if we have enough money coming in the door. And I'm like, oh my God, I've never, like, I don't know what that feeling is. But then also past that, my fear, my worry is, I mean, the reason to go into this is to like push myself fully into, this is what I want to do with my life. Like, this is what I want to be doing. And terrified that it's like going to continue to be this slog of like, how do I actually make money at doing this? And so I'm just curious. I mean, you've been doing this for 2 years now. Like what are all those emotions that go into it? What is it like trying to find those sources of income as you go along?
Well, I will tell you, first of all, like, just I can't relate more to what you just said without being you. Okay. I literally cannot relate more. I remember being completely terrified when I left teaching. Totally afraid. How am I going to pay my student loans every month? How am I going to, what if my car breaks down? What if this, terror for the unknown, right? Then I had my first 6 months and realized, no one's buying anything. Well, how
Right.
do you do this? Like,
Right.
and at that point, I didn't have the following, and I don't have a great following. I mean, no. People listening to me, I have an amazing following. What I'm saying is, I don't have like 100,000
Right.
people
Right.
that,
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm very conflicted. That's a whole nother topic, which I'd love to talk to you about, is like that. But to focus on this conversation, I can't relate more, because when I left teaching, when my income stopped, I had to still pay those bills.
Right.
And it was a very big challenge. And I had saved some money. I thought I had saved like 3 years worth of money to do it. In reality, I'm not your financial planner, because I'm very bad with cash and money, but I had only saved a year. So I got through the first year, and I learned so much about jewelry and how I want to present myself. I've changed my bio and my artist statement. I change it all the time. I changed it the other day sitting at an art show, because I said something to somebody and I was like, wow, that felt so authentic. That's what I want people to think and know about me when they meet me. So I immediately changed my website. Like, I'm constantly growing and evolving. But as far as like the money goes, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. Like, I know that I'm okay through August right now. Then I don't know if I'm going to be okay. Obviously I have a husband who has a job. So like, no matter what, we're going to be okay. But we do, our means are very different than what they were when I left teaching and when I was teaching. I've just cut back on things, and there are some things that are non-negotiable, and there are some things that you don't need that. And you'll find those things out, like Starbucks. I don't need that, and now we make the most banging cup of coffee every morning. So like, like there's things that you just automatically say, like, I can't believe we spent all this money on this. Like, what were we thinking? Like, we're not going to go see Frozen on Ice ever. Because like, we just don't need it. Like, it's just a thing that's not needed. But then there's some things that are needed, that like experiences. I shouldn't have used Frozen on Ice, because maybe that would be an experience that the kids would really love. But you know what I mean? What I'm trying to say is, like, you have to you start to learn, you cut back, you become frugal. And I did take out loans when I went through college and grad school. And, I'm just going to be paying them back. I'm one of those people that has a student loan payment every month. And it's just, I'm glad I do, because it pushes me to work hard. And it pushes me to try new things. And every single time you make a sale, I just am like so grateful, so unbelievably grateful for being able to live the life that I'm living right now. So like, that whole perspective has changed also. Like, I want to reach out and just like hug every customer and just say, like, I do try and make, I try and make the packaging special and let people know like how much they truly have affected my way of life, and how like that one small purchase is like literally putting gas in my car so that I can, keep moving, keep going forward. I guess that's really it. What you said just really hits home. You're going to find what works for you. You're going to find what, you and your wife are going to be able to just find a new normal. But things look different. I mean, the holidays look different, financially. And that's okay, because at the end of the day, we know this. What do we really need? You know what I mean? Like, you really figure out what is so important, and it's time spent, right? It's not, a lavish whatever. And at the same time, you are about to embark on a grad school education, and we said this, like, you're going to have so much learning and so much growth that happens at that time that you're going to find new techniques and new ways of doing things that you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I haven't been doing this for years.
Right.
You'll be cranking out work in a whole different way, and it'll be exciting and new, and there's just going to be this amazing, like this amazing growth that happens for you. But don't get me wrong, like there are some months that are not like that, right?
Yeah.
Like you will have those, like, how are we going to do? You will have those times that are hard. But you have a good partner, you have a good family, you are going to be supported, and especially by this community lifts each other up, I think. I'm still very grateful for the community that I found through Instagram and whatever. Like I really am. So you'll be okay. It's just totally.
Do you ever regret the decision?
Never. Even on the months where I was like, well, gonna need to take some money out of savings this month. Like, never do I regret it. I love every second of being home, getting my kids off the bus, working in the studio, silence in the studio, music in the studio, podcasts in the studio. The occasional like visitor I get, another artist we have this really, little did I know that I live near some amazing artists in my radius. And, we've kind of all found each other, and we do little studio visits. So like, there's been that cool community aspect too that has happened. So no, I never once have I said, oh man, should I call the head of school and just ask for my job back? No. Nope. I'm really sorry. I'm not coming back.
Well, okay. So not resenting. Does it ever stress the creative process?
Yes, it has stressed my creative process. I'll tell you, I have a perfect example, and they are the folded dot earrings. The folded dot earrings were, I thought I needed to have a cheaper item that people could purchase anytime, that were enamel, because I want to stay true to enamel. I love enamel. And I was like, this will be a great way for people to support me. And I cranked out hundreds of these little folded dot earrings. And I did them so much that they became, I started to hate them.
Right.
And I was like, and then people were like, can I get this in another color? And I'd be like, yes, yeah, you can. And I'd make that color, and I'd be like, oh, I hate you, little folded dot earring. And then eventually I was like, I'm never doing them again. I've burnt myself out completely on enameled folded dot earrings. So I apologize to all my folded dot fans. They will not be ever making a return. Because that's one thing I learned about myself in the last 2 years is I don't like to do the same thing over and over and over again. I love to change it up, try a new process. I repeat collections. So like I've gone back to, like, I'm going to start going back to the playground series. So I'm just waving my child away.
Yes, I figured.
I'm going to go back and just revisit, because I have some things I want to do better. So I just cannot create the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
No, we're not leaving yet. Go. We leave in a half an hour. Goodbye. They're going to camp this afternoon. One's doing a musical theater camp, and the other's doing a recycled arts camp.
Nice.
Yeah,
both of those are awesome. Yeah. No, I get that. I'm the same way when it comes to coasters. I can't do another coaster. Like,
gotta take coaster break.
Yeah. I had the similar thing, but it was for a pop-up, but similar like mindset, right? Of like, I want something that's super accessible at the table, so that if someone can't afford, one of my sculpted pieces, they can walk away and want to support me. They can walk away with something.
Yes.
So I did. I mean, I still have them. Like I still have like 20 of them left. And they start going out like when someone does buy something, I'm like, throw in a set of
Coaster.
coasters.
Oh, you hit the top price range. You get a free set of coasters with that. I totally understand that. So like the ruler earrings, I love to do those. And the cool thing about those is that once the ruler's gone, it's gone.
Right.
So it's like I can only do so much. And each time I do them different, so it keeps it fresh. So that's something where like I kind of compromise about those, but I'm not burnt out on rulers, and I really love them. And
you know that you started that whole thing for me watching you do that ruler series. Is what gave me the idea or made it click to do that yardstick bowl.
I love the yardstick bowl.
And I have two yardsticks that I had never seen before. They're fully square.
Okay.
And I think because they had like handles on them too, could be used like walking sticks as well as like a yardstick. That's like what they had been designed as. But those are the ones that I want to resaw down and try to do and make some earrings with just the wood.
Yeah.
But I've been scared to do it because I'm like, I don't make jewelry. Like no one's gonna like come to me and be like, oh, you make jewelry. And yeah, so that's been my holdback so far.
Okay. Well, I think you could pull it off by just getting some prefabricated earring wires.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like don't worry about mechanisms or anything. Drill a hole and attach it to an earring wire. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. But I think that would be another really cool thing to explore as like that little thing that people can buy to support you.
Yeah.
100%. And which I do think that's important, especially as somebody who like has jewelry that's higher end, more expensive. It is nice to walk into somebody's booth and have that connection with them and then say, oh man, I can't spend $200, but I would love to just, or even like a sticker.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, I want to support you. You know, I'll buy a sticker from you or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Which I don't do, which I was thinking about doing.
Do you not have stickers?
I have stickers, but I just give them away to everybody.
Right. Yeah.
I just am like, here, take this. But then the 2 booths down, this guy was selling all these really cool stickers. I was like, who designed these? He was like, oh, I did. And they were $5 each. So I bought like 3 of them because I was like, I love your work. Want to support you. give me some stickers. So I think I might try that too. I have some ideas about that, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's always been the struggle has always been that I make larger pieces.
Yeah.
And I've, finally decided that I need to really value my time in them. And so they're expensive. And I struggle with I need to be able to make a living so that I can keep doing this versus like, my mindset has always been like, I want people to have access to things that they love and that speak to them. Like, I want that so deeply. And I don't, like, I grew up poor. Like art was not in my home. Like there's no way we could have ever afforded it. And so like, I just want that so deeply for other people that really pulls at me. Like it's a tug of war going on inside for sure.
Well, so put the rope down because you don't need to tug of war that anymore. Let's just say me too, that having that accessible piece is just part of it. You know, like it is. I really think that that's part of our job is as creatives is to make art accessible to anybody. Right. And don't get me wrong. Like I just love to give away a sticker. Like I just want to be like, here you go.
Yeah.
Take that. Call me. So yeah, I get it. But I think we just need both of us. Like that was so powerful what you said. And we need to just put the rope down and stop tugging and just say, this is how it's going to be because we want it to be accessible to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ventured into, I mean, you were teaching, have you ventured into at all or thought about teaching enameling?
Yeah. I've been doing a couple 1-day workshops at this really cool place. Little plug, Flux Metal Arts in Menor, Ohio. I've been doing 1 days there. So I've done etching classes. I've done electro etching. I'm going to do a enameling class in August. And that has really kind of like fed my teacher heart.
Yeah.
It has helped my teacher heart stay large and full. And then I signed the CIA, Cleveland Institute of Art, has they asked me to do the continuing ed classes. So I'm doing
Mm,
2, one on a Wednesday night, one on a Thursday night. And I love you, CIA, but 2 nights in a row is very difficult for
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
It's just, as a teacher, I am like so crazy about planning and making sure that everybody's happy. And
Hmm.
it's been hard. It's been hard to like stay enthusiastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think from moving forward, I will continue to teach down there, but just
Yeah.
one class a session. 2 has been, just exhausting. And I love it. I know myself, like I need to, it's like we talked about earlier about like, the stress and that
Hmm.
how much time that take away from your studio and whatever.
Right. Yep.
It's been difficult, but I do love my students. I just
Right.
have to do I know it's best for me. I have to do 1 class a week. Also, the downtown for me is 45 minutes away.
Yeah.
So it's also an hour and a half in the car on those days,
Hmm.
Wednesday and Thursday, and it just takes a lot of time away
Yep.
from my family. So thinking of doing more of those. I do love I don't know what I want to do next. Part of me wants to teach a champ leve workshop. We'll see. I'm going to write that's an enameling process that I think is really fun. It's one of my favorites. And I'm going to propose I do that in the fall. So we'll see if they say yes or
Yeah.
no.
I mean, I think that's important to hit on that, especially if people looking to go full time or just started, like I have found like that's definitely an avenue in addition to you're usually a type of person who either really enjoys teaching people or doesn't really enjoy teaching people. Like you don't usually fall somewhere in the middle. But
Yeah.
if you enjoy teaching, that can be another avenue of income as well that can be more reliable, right? That's coming up. So it's a little bit easier to plan around that.
So you just reminded me why I chose to do 2 classes this summer is because I was like, well, that'll help pay for X, X, and X. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I'll do this and that'll take that financial burden off my
Right.
shoulders. But instead, it took the financial weight off, but it put a different weight on.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I have to remember that.
I mean, I'll be teaching my first I won't say my first paid teaching gig because I've done some stuff at like at Workbench Con, but first teaching, like kind of legit teaching, will be in September.
Okay.
Doing it's somebody who found me through Instagram that was like, "You're fun, so why don't you come teach this class?" And
that's awesome.
it's
Where?
it's local here in Iowa City area. At kind of a historical place. It's this space where this man, he built all of these stone barns and they're all round and cathedral ceilings, and he put in like stained glass windows, and there's a shop in one, and he sold it to like our local county conservation board. Like he sold the whole property, and so they're going to start doing classes out of his workshop, which is
I love it.
I mean, it's just such a unique space to be in. Like when I first stepped in, I was like, how can you have a workshop with no square walls? Like where do you put the equipment? Like I just couldn't, like, you know, like I just couldn't wrap my head around it. And now I've been there a couple times, and it's really becoming a space. And it dawned on me, I took a picture, I did put it on Instagram, like the stained glass window behind the bandsaw. Like I just took that kind of picture, and it's like, it's funny because as someone like who grew up in a church, no longer attends church, like my shop has become my spiritual place. So it's like very, I don't know. It's just one of those things of like, okay, this feels right. Like this space feels right. Yeah.
I could totally see that feeling right. The way you describe it and the feeling of how your studio is like your.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yep.
I feel bad because I'm actually talking with my hands right now. So,
well, you know,
those of everybody that can't see me.
Well, we'll have to see. You know, since the first time we chatted, I do tend to post these on YouTube as well. But,
okay.
Well, I always leave it up to you to decide if that's okay or not.
Oh no, I'm fine with that. I mean, I apologize for looking a mess. I just came from the gym and I'm tired.
That's okay. That's okay. But anyway, I mean, so that will be fun. Like I get to teach that in September, 3 weekends in a row, and it will be for it's just for women, so that's also another thing that speaks, you know, pretty big to what my kind of core mission is, though I will be pushing them to eventually open that up to non-binary and transgender if we can.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's something that it's like, oh, this could be a source, you know, of like not a ton of income, but something. And it's not nothing. When I'm not going to be making any money, it will be a nice like thing, like you said, put away for the holidays or whatever, you know, that we have coming up. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I love it. I wish you the best of luck. I love teaching. I think you'll be a fabulous teacher because you're compassionate and kind, and that's all that everybody needs.
Right.
That literally, that's all that's the only thing students need, and to, you know, obviously not cut anything on their bodies, but they you will do a great job, and the space sounds fantastic. It sounds really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited, and it is one of those things of like, wow, Instagram really did something. I mean, I love connecting with the maker community for sure on Instagram. Like some of my now like close friends are through Instagram.
Same.
So like, I absolutely love the community, but sometimes I am like, I don't know how people are making all their money off of Instagram. Like I just
don't either.
Yeah.
I don't either. I was thinking in the car, this is what I wanted to say about it. Yeah. I was thinking in the car on the way home just now that I miss the quiet, static feed. I miss the beautiful pictures. I actually miss people with over-filtered, beautiful imagery because sometimes I look and it's just movement. And my brain is like, I don't even know, and the sound's off, but I can't turn the sound on because like it's really late at night and I'm just doing this. I'm scrolling to try. Oh, my mom's calling me. Sorry, Mom.
Because you're doom scrolling. I do.
Yes, and I just want to see that beautiful feed, and I miss that. And I was like, you know what? I'm not doing any more videos.
You made the decision. You're like,
I was like, I'm not doing any more videos. Instagram. We'll see how long that lasts. I think it might last maybe 4 weeks, but I just need a break.
Yeah, no.
I need a mental break from reels right now. And I don't get me wrong. I was at where I was talking to a gentleman who was like, I don't understand. Is it paper? Like, what am I looking at on your Instagram right now? And I was like, you're the person who needs the content video.
Yeah.
You know, you are the person who doesn't know, and that's okay. How could you know what enameling is? Nobody does. It's okay. Yeah. But you're the person who needs to see the process. So I was like, I will do more of it. I need a mental break because my brain hurts. And I do miss that quiet space that I would go to because where do you get that now besides just going outside for a walk? Like we used to I used to scroll and just see beautiful things. Now I'm just seeing like, it's like, oh, my head.
I get it. I mean, I recently just started a new Instagram account just to post the finished product pictures. More so than anything because I've really, self-reflected and realized that Freeman Furnishings started out, like the account started out as a means to sell what I make. That's what I was hoping to be able to do. It has turned into, after I, connected with community, has turned into sharing about the process or sharing about things that I'm passionate about or dancing in the shop for whatever reason people enjoy watching me do that. But I do that, that's what it's become. And so like, I pretty much don't share any of the finished work on that page. Like I might, like be like, okay, here it is done in the stories or whatever. But I'm like, if I intend to still eventually get to like selling my furniture, selling my pieces, I want a place to be like, no, this is it. Like here's all the finished work.
Right. When you said something, I want to just point that out. You said, if I get to the point, I want you to make sure that as we move forward, this is another thing. Katie.
Yes.
when I get to the point where I'm selling my furniture, I want, that's all.
Valid point.
Okay. It's hard because like, I'm such like if I'm not like bubbly and happy, I am doom and gloom.
Yeah.
So like, I always like, so I have to like train myself to say, when I'm doing this. Yeah, I agree with you. I love that you did that. Have a new account for the finished work.
And now Instagram lets you do that without having a second. Like you used to be able to do only one account per email.
Yeah.
But now it lets you have more than one account per email. So like it was super easy to set up. And it gives me a space to explore. Like to explore like, do I feel like people are gravitating towards, a sculpted table versus a bowl or whatever? Just like, what am I getting back on? And what can I do with this space? Because it's brand new. So really I can do whatever I want with that space. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I'm just rethinking. I'm doing a lot of rethinking how I want to present pieces. That's all.
I get it.
Yeah. Growing and evolving.
It never stays the same, right?
No,
like
doesn't. Never.
Are you one of those types that plans like at the new year? Are you one of those types that's like planning out? Okay, good.
No.
Because I'm not in that. Like I envy the people who can do that. I envy the people who can plan out a week's worth of content for social media in advance. Like my planning happens about 2 minutes before I'm about to like post something.
I lead 100% with nothing logical, just literally emotion, heart. I'm all like making choices based on how I'm feeling. I never have been able to balance a checkbook or a spreadsheet or follow a planner. I just can't. I can make a list.
Yeah.
But by 12 o'clock, I don't know where my list is. I have lost the list. And
that's fair. That's fair. So just to point it out, here's my list.
Just your list
of like shirts that I still owe, which by the way, your name's right there.
Cross me off.
Like this list has been staring at me and I just keep trying to move it more and more into the front of my face.
Here's my empty planner.
I like the doodles you got going there.
I got doodles. Yeah. Here, Sunday it just says depressed.
Now, did you plan that, or that was your reflection on that day?
Yesterday, I opened my planner and I started to write. I wrote Monday, clean studio. And then I was like, Sunday, that day was terrible. So I wrote depressed. I literally laid on the couch and ate a bag of chips.
Nice.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to, actually, you know what? I'm going to cross that off.
Yeah.
Done with that.
Done with that. That's right.
So I get it. I like having a planner. I just don't use it.
Yeah. Good. We're on the same vein here. Yep.
Oh, I laugh. All right. What else?
Right.
We have
I'm watching the clock. We got like 7 minutes.
10 minutes.
So I'll ask just one more,
Okay.
You said you were going to revisit the playground series.
Yeah.
Is that what you are going into next, you think, or is there something else? Okay.
Yes, I've already started. I finished up the bird idioms like the last 2 weeks, and during the week I was photographing everything, I had already started etching and taking pictures of the next series.
Gotcha.
So I kind of overlapped. I don't always get to overlap like that, but it just happened. It just happened that way. I felt really motivated, so I ran out and started collecting my imagery and looking at old imagery. And I'm definitely going to revisit the Spring Rider. I really love them. They're so playful and cute, and I was obviously depressed on Sunday, so I need something happy to work on. And I want to do color, like a lot of bright colors. So I was going to do multiple Spring Riders, as many different color palettes as possible. Nice. Some swings. I got some ideas for mechanisms and hanging. And I do have half of a ruler floating around, so I might grab that and do some earrings. So that's the next few weeks is going to be visiting the playground again.
That's always fun. How do you find your images?
I take a lot of my imagery. So like you can walk by. My husband's walking by with beer.
Okay.
He's went to Walmart. He's American. Okay, so we're gonna go. So I take a lot of my imagery. Like, so for the playgrounds, I visit playgrounds. I find as many old abandoned playgrounds as I can. I take lots of pictures. I visit at dusk now, so I get that nice sunset, or I go in the morning. For the birds, I collected vintage postcards, used those. I had paper dolls. I used an old map. So I do a lot of different imagery. That anything that I can find is how I get my images. Sometimes, like for the compass rose, I couldn't find a compass rose I liked. So I downloaded an SVG file from Etsy. So like occasionally I'll do that, but for the most part, I try and take all my own pictures. So like the Spring Rider, I fell in love with that thing. I actually like took its picture and then traced it with, let me see if I have it here. Yeah, I do. So I took the picture of the Spring Rider, then I traced it with tracing paper.
Yeah,
and then I took this and scanned it in the computer.
Oh, nice.
I did the same thing with my daughter on the swing set.
Nice.
Okay, so like I try and like, but then I scan it because I need to make the lines thicker if I want to add enamel in them.
Yeah.
I guess I could have done that on Photoshop, but I didn't know how. Maybe I know how now. But that's pretty much the process. I love to go into the world to find imagery, especially because then it has like a little more sentimental value.
Yeah.
I don't know if it does for the viewer, but at least it does for me, and that makes my heart happier when I work on things.
I mean, I think it will for me, like going forward, now understanding that, like, I guess that was my hope for your answer, was that was coming from, it wasn't like just, clip art type stuff.
No, I never, the only time I use a clip art image is if I buy something from Etsy. And I always try and buy something because then I want to support the person that makes that CG file. So I try and make my train of visual imagery, authentic is what that's what's important to me. So all the bird actually, some of the birds in the bird series were taken from the person who lives across the street. So apparently, I live across the street from this amazing assemblage artist. Her name is Herbie O'Connell, and she has an Instagram. I think it's called Squid Stuffies. And she just started out, and her son is a naturalist at the metro parks in the area and takes pictures of birds.
Nice.
So that's where I got all the birds.
Nice. Also, I love that her name is Herbie.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's just, she's amazing. Hi, Herbie. I'm going to make her listen to this.
There you go.
So, yeah.
Okay. So 2 minutes. Just enough time for you to really quick tell everyone again, like how they should find you and follow along with you.
All right. So you can find me on Instagram at Emily Joyce Official. That's probably the best way. I do have a website, and it's www.emilyejoyce.com. And that's pretty much my main thing. I have a TikTok that I love to ignore. It's mjoyoff. It's Emily Joyce Official, but just mjoyoff. None of those little spacey things.
Yes.
So I would love for you to follow along and hang out with me while I post lots of static, boring pictures. I'm really selling it. Yes. And that's it. I am an enamelist, which is fused glass to metal. I don't think I ever said that. And, I'm a huge Katie Freeman fan. So
thank you.
There's that too. I think that's it. But awesome. Katie, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. This was the best conversation, because also I didn't overthink it, because I was sitting on the couch at 11:59 eating chicken and then realized that I gotta go. So I really appreciate it. And it's always so nice to talk to you. And I hope in 2 years we get to talk again.
Yeah, same on all of that.
Oh, real quick. How long is your grad program?
2 years.
2 years. Perfect.
Going full time. Yeah, that's right. Okay. All right. So again, that was Emily Joyce. I will provide all the links so you can follow along with her, as well as listen to her first episode from a few years back in the description for this episode. So best place to check that is if you're listening on your podcast app, just check the description for the episode there and find the links. Or if you're watching this on the Freeman Furnishings YouTube channel, you can check the description box down below. Please be sure to follow along with the podcast over on Instagram at Crafting a Revolution. No spaces, underscores, dashes, any of that. All just one word, as it sounds, Crafting a Revolution. Also, say hi to your host. You can find me, Katie Freeman, at Freeman Furnishings, and my co-host, Katie Thompson, at Women of Woodworking. We would absolutely love for you to say hi and let us know what episode you are loving at the moment. And reminder, head over to podcastawards.com and nominate and vote for Crafting a Revolution under People's Choice Award category and the category of art. All right, we have one more new episode this week on Friday. And in the meantime, let's go craft a revolution. Also, thank you so much to Ashley Minnie for writing, singing, producing the theme song for Crafting Revolution. All right, y'all. Later.